On Convos with Cody 19, I have my good friend Billy Spencer on. Billy's been a PGA Tour caddy for about 25 years. We go in depth on behind the scenes stuff about golf. If you're a golf nut, you're going to absolutely love this one. And again, please like, comment, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Thank you. What specific part about golf does the average recreational golfer or golf fan not understand about how good professional golfers are?
I don't think they understand the amount of time and effort that these guys put in at honing their game and their craft.
How many hours a week does a golfer on the tour spend, or maybe a day if you want to do it on a daily basis, so the average
Uh,
person can understand?
I would say the average guy probably spends, um, let's say 8 hours a day at the golf course. Non-tournament days, like a Monday, a Tuesday, or a Wednesday. So tournament days would be completely different. But on a non-tournament day, I would say the average day is about 8 hours, and that would include physio work, stretching, um, maybe a meeting with their sports psych, maybe a meeting with a particular instructor, whether it's a short game or a putting guy. There would be practice, could be long game, could be short game, could be putting, could be a combination of three. And then there's probably golf to be played. Hopefully, it's only 9 holes. Sometimes it can be 18. And then there's some post round stuff. Sometimes guys like to get stretched post round. Sometimes there's some practice post round. So 8 hours is probably 6 to 8 hours on a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is probably pretty safe. Um, and then a tournament day is a little bit different. Obviously, there's competition that takes anywhere between 4 and 5 to play. You're obviously trying to conserve as much energy as you can, so you're not doing a crazy grind session pre-round or post-round. But there is some activation, stretching, um, maybe a small workout just to kind of get the blood pumping. And then a stretch post round and maybe some practice.
So you answered my question mostly about the work at the course, but I know from my experience in professional baseball, not playing, but just working in the game, that there's also way more work that goes on outside of just practicing your swing, whether it's in the weight room, as you said, getting treatment, whatever else. So I'd imagine that when you throw in all those other, I guess, off course activities, I mean, some of these golfers are putting in what, 10, 12-hour days probably on non-tournament days?
Yeah, I think that would be fair. And that doesn't even include the travel part. So obviously we have, there are easier travel weeks than others. Sometimes we're going halfway around the world, but that's taking, days upon days. Other times, you're fortunate enough to drive to the next tournament, a couple hours down the road, one way or the other. So, yeah, I would say, the big the big workload days, those guys usually save for either off weeks or beginning of the tournament week. I would say as the week goes on, the days probably get shorter, uh, aside from the actual playing part, just because it's especially at this time of the year. I mean, obviously it's August. We're a little further south than you'd like to be in August. It's pretty hot. And so, when it's 100 every day, it can kind of take its toll on you. And then you've got thunderstorms. So, it's rare that we get to play 18 holes in a tournament day. We're going to have a day where we play nine and sit around for 5 hours and watch it rain. And then there'll be a day where we've got to play 25 holes from sun up to sundown. So you've got to kind of make sure you've got some gas in the tank come Sunday.
Okay, you mentioned, before I forget, flying halfway around the world. And I know that you had experience, if I recall correctly, was it the Tokyo Olympics?
Hmm.
Okay. So when you have to do long haul travel, I'm curious about adjusting time zones, body clock, jet lag, and all that stuff. How do a lot of these golfers and their support staff manage jumping time zones sometimes very quickly?
It's a good question. I think as you get older and you do it more, you start to understand what works for you. I think for me at least, the two most important things that, or the two things that really, that can really fight jet lag good, is exercise and sunlight. So if you can, as bad as you may feel, if you can land, if you don't have to go straight to the golf course, which in some cases you do, but if you can lay, which is fine, I guess, because that's your exercise and you're outside, your combination of both. The sun is undefeated with jet lag. I think if you can be outside, moving around, get your mind, get your mind going, get some exercise, walk 9 holes, whatever. I think that can really go a long way to curing the jet lag. Or a quick workout, maybe 30, 40 minutes in the gym, just something to, just something to get moving around. You've obviously sat on a plane for 8, 10, 12, 18 hours sometimes, depends where you're going. So, you want to go into your room and close the blinds and go to bed, but that's probably the worst thing that you could possibly do. Um, and then obviously, depending on where you're going, me personally, I'm better when I travel west. So from North America to Asia, it doesn't bother me that much. To Australia, it doesn't bother me. But when I come home from those places, it's not great. Or when I travel to Europe going east, I find that a very, very difficult adjustment. West for me is not a huge deal. So
Interesting how that works. I actually remember, I don't recall the name of it, but there is an app. I'll figure it out and I'll send it to you once we're done. I listened to a podcast episode with a sleep doctor on. Anyway, there's this app that's out there where I guess you basically kind of plug in your information. I'm going from here to here, and it basically tells you how to manage your circadian rhythm. Like when should you sleep and all the. Anyway, I have actually never used it, but I've heard of it, and it's
I've seen it. I've messed around with it. I've
Well, you know
seen.
what it is. Okay.
Yeah, I did it before I went to Australia last year, which is from Dallas is 18 hours. And I was a little concerned. I hadn't done 18 before. I've done 12 and 13 to Asia and stuff for the Middle East, but never 18. And I was a little concerned, you leave on a Friday, you arrive Sunday morning. You basically just, Saturday doesn't exist. So,
So weird.
but yeah, and it's the same stuff. It's hydration. It's, eat food, but eat the right food. Don't eat a bunch of shit on the plane. Eat something good. Don't count on
Tempting.
the plane to provide you with good food. And then obviously when you land, at least when you go west, typically you land at a reasonable at a reasonable time. So if you can power through the rest of that day, even if you go to bed a little bit early, you'll wake up a little bit early, but you're going to be sort of on the road to kind of being dialed in after 2 days or 3 days.
Okay, so
Just
it's
in time to
interesting.
turn around and go home.
Yeah, of course. And I have so many more questions about the travel component, and I realize I may have gotten ahead of myself a little bit. I wanted to ask you, you've been a caddy for how long now?
25 years.
20. Okay, so
Yeah.
of those 25 years, actually, you know what? I'll ask you this way. I want to ask you, how does someone even become a caddy? Okay, so that's the first question. And then the second prong of the question is, of those 25 years you've worked, how would you allocate them in terms of different tours, maybe for different stints of time?
Well, I think most of the guys that are caddying are failed players or close to, or close to it. I'm not one of those. I was never I was never good enough to think that I could actually make a living at playing. So I I mean I caddied at a club in Toronto. I enjoyed it. I knew the members, they took care of me. Um, there were some professional events. Some of my friends had played in them. Got to know the right people. I lucked into it essentially 25 years ago, and kind of parlayed it into this. And then of the 25 years, it's pretty much 25 years on the PGA Tour. I did maybe 6 months on what it was called I don't even know if it was called the Nike Tour or the web.com, early, like late 90s, early 2000. It might have been web.com. Um, and then the player that I was working for got on tour, and I've essentially been on tour ever since. So,
So essentially what you're telling me is all it takes is for a golfer to say, "I wanna hire you to be my caddy." There's no sort of, I don't know, entrance fee, like, or any, like, it's not like, "Okay, I'm a lawyer, I have to get a license to be," you know what I mean? Like, there's no sort of
yeah.
requirement, it's just a matter of someone saying, "I want you to be my caddy."
Yeah, no, I mean, essentially, that's what it boiled down to. However, I mean, like anything, there's a lot that goes into it. If you haven't done it before, um, you'll get run out pretty quickly, I think. And it's changed, obviously. 25 years ago, um, there wasn't the same. I mean, I think it's like every sport, it's evolved. And so, um, the value that the caddy had 25 years ago, um, it's much greater now than it's ever been, in my opinion. Like the way that the players look at, what we bring to the table, the responsibilities that we have in the past. I mean, 25 years ago, I was responsible for showing up and making sure there were enough balls in the bag, and then off we would go, and maybe get some yardages in here and there. And now, you've got the coach caddy relationship, and how do we, you know, the coach doesn't see every shot. I see every shot. What are we doing out there? What do we need to work on? There's that aspect. There's the aspect. There's the, scheduling aspect, the agent relationship. So there's a lot of stuff going on that, 25 years ago was not part of it. It would be a tremendous challenge for somebody to just, at least at this level. And I get asked a lot. I mean, how do I get on tour? And I'm like, well, you don't get on tour. You go to another tour and learn what works for you, and what you feel is best for the player, and kind of trial and error and experiment. Understand what it's like to, manage the emotions. I mean, after 25, I don't want to say I don't give a shit over every shot, but I really don't care. Like there's nothing I can do as long as the math is right. I mean, I can't control where the ball is going to go. So there's nothing I can do. I mean, I can say, 25 years ago, I'd maybe kind of feel the heat a little bit coming down the stretch if you got a chance to win. But after all these years, it's like, I can't really control. I mean, as long as I add the numbers up the right way, the ball's going to go wherever it wants. He's going to do whatever he wants at the end of the day. So there's nothing so why am I worried about it? I mean, hopefully he hits a good shot. I'm cheering for him to hit a good shot, but at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do. So,
It's interesting to me how you mentioned the relationship aspect of what caddies bring to the table, and in watching Full Swing on Netflix, I know that some of my buddies and I, when we talk about the show, one of my best friends, Pete, he talks about it's incredible watching behind the scenes how much some of these golfers lean on their caddy to just talk things out, whatever that might be. So I'm curious, you've seen how that role has evolved over the years. I don't know how much maybe you are into listening to podcasts or reading books, but I'm just curious, do you ever maybe try to learn about just human psychology in general, or maybe sports psychology specifically, to be like, oh, I wonder maybe how, just like maybe learning like how to maybe approach conversations differently, or maybe just gain a different perspective on that?
yeah, I've never really been one to, the podcast is one thing. I do that. I can do that on planes. It's easy. Um, I'll dabble around. Obviously this is like a traveling sort of road show. So, guys share, good TV series or a good movie or a good podcast. So it's word of mouth, and guys will start to spread, what things are, good to watch, or, some up and coming stuff. I think, at least I feel like, I think I've been a part of enough sports psych/player sit down meetings, come to Jesus times, the world is falling apart, my life sucks meetings over the years of I think I kind of got a pretty good idea on how to handle it. Um, and then, I mean, it sounds terrible to say this, but my son is a college athlete. So if I'm ever unsure of how to deal with it, I sometimes just do a trial run on him to see if it works. And then if he says, you're out of your fucking mind, then I'm like, okay, maybe I won't try that with my player. But if he's like, you know what, that's not a bad idea, then I'm like, okay, that kind of passes the first step and I can kind of take it from there. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, these guys, they're athletes. They're the best at what they do. They're driven. They're highly motivated. Um, they're way better than they've ever been. They expect that's, I mean, that is the one thing that gets these guys is expectations is, they expect perfect execution. It's not realistic. They expect perfect results. It's not realistic. So it's all about managing and massaging, reality versus expectation. And if you can find a decent balance, um, you know, that's usually good enough to keep them somewhat sane week to week.
It's interesting also because when you touched on the psychology aspect and you mentioned that we're kind of like a traveling roadshow, I know in my experience being around professional baseball my whole life in one way or another, how that type of sport, which is more of a defined season, you're with a team, you're not kind of going in your all ways. Um, but I've seen how that affects the family life of not just the players, but the support staff and the coaches. So with a sport like golf, when you're just all over the map constantly, how difficult is it for everyone involved to keep up a great family life?
Um, yeah, nobody, everyone in my family, obviously I guess they enjoy being a part of it when we're winning and playing good, like just like anything. But I think, um, aside from my mom and my sister, I mean, this is what I've always done. Nobody else really knows anything different I've always kind of been away half the year. I go to places that some people love to go to, and they're jealous that they don't get to go, blah, blah, blah. Every now and again, we're playing well and they're talking about us on TV. But it's all that, most of my friends and family, it's all they know. It's essentially, I left college, I started to do this and that was it. So, they either remember me as a high school or a college student, or I was a caddy. So that part, really, um, you know, my guy plays a lot of weeks. We play a lot of tournaments. I probably work 30. It doesn't seem like a lot, but probably 35 or 36 weeks a year. Um, but that's also 4.5 months of holidays where I can do whatever I want and I'm home as long as I want with no responsibility. And that's hard to find in the real world. Like, not many people get 4 months of holidays. So now it all kind of comes, a pretty big chunk of it comes sort of November, December. I mean, there's 8 of the, you know, 20 weeks, but, you know, there's another, 12 or 13 weeks spread out throughout the year that it's just a total week off where I can do whatever I want. Sometimes it's 2 in a row. So it's 2 weeks of, I can go wherever I want, do whatever I want. So I think they enjoy that part that when I'm home, I'm really home. I'm not at the office all day. I don't miss any practices or games when I'm off. Or drives to school or anything like that. So you went, you miss some stuff, sure, but when you're home, you're 100% home.
And you've been doing this for so long now, you're obviously used to it. What about maybe in your experience seeing new faces come on the tour or whatever, and maybe just seeing from afar just how the dynamics can be tough, right? Like now, but maybe by the time they get to the tour, it's like maybe everyone in their life is just kind of used to it at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think. the college coaches have done a nice job with these kids in the last few years. Like when they get on tour, they're ready to play. Um, they understand um, they understand the travel. They understand the procedures, the etiquette, the traditions. Um, you know, when I first came out there, or when I first got out here, um, the rookies, they struggled a little bit. You didn't see many rookies make an immediate impact. It was quite the adjustment. Um, and I think over the years that the college coaching, the junior golf coaching, and I think it's just like any sport. I mean, guys are making their major league debut younger than they've ever made it, and there's more 18-year-olds in the NHL, and guys are going straight from college football and right into the NFL and starting on Sunday. So I just think the sports are all kind of much further ahead than they were, 25 years ago with player development and whether it's the nutrition or the biomechanics or just the mindset of these guys understanding. And then a lot of these college, and I see it firsthand with my son, these college programs are mini professional organizations. I mean, the resources and the facilities are, they would be what a pro ball team. I mean, they dwarf what a double A or a single A team in the professional system would have. I mean, it's almost a downgrade to go from a D1 college to single A. I mean, your facilities are better at D1, I promise you.
Have you seen some of the facilities now, whether it's baseball, hockey, the
Yes.
money that's going into some of
It's
these
outrageous.
NCAA facilities now, man? This is what my
It's
dad
outrageous.
saying. He's like, you don't get this treatment in the minor leagues.
No, and it's why kids aren't going into the draft. They're like, no, I'll stick around. And plus, now you're getting paid at school too. So
NIL.
if you're making a couple $100,000 a year and you're going to sign a $40,000 pro contract, be in the 20th round, you're like, well, I might as well just go hang out at school for another year. I mean, but for the kids that do make it to the next level, I think it just helps them get there faster. Just the facilities, it's everything about it is just, it just allows them to grow a little bit faster, a little more efficiently. And when they do get their chance, they take advantage of it.
What do you think is the biggest adjustment that golfers have to make going from college onto the tour?
I would say I mean, I guess there's 2 points. The most important one, I guess, would be learning the golf courses, which you don't have a lot of time. The way that it's structured on tour, every week, aside from majors, has a Pro-Am. And a Pro-Am, basically, you've got to play with two or three sponsors, essentially, or the sponsors of the tournament are allotted Pro-Am participants, and then they can assign it to customers or employees or whatever. And the eligibility for the Pro-Am is based on the previous year. So if you didn't play the previous year, you're not eligible to play in these Pro-Ams. So now all of a sudden you've got Monday and Tuesday to learn the golf course. But if you're traveling on Monday, you run out of time. And so now you've got one crack on Tuesday. Hopefully the weather's good to learn a golf course. And I mean, I'll be honest, it's pretty hard to learn. And that's another part why the guys coming to Caddie that have never done it before have no chance, because at least if you've been around and these courses, you can help these guys out a little bit. But if you're as green as your player and you guys have never been somewhere, it's pretty hard to figure everything out in a day and a half.
So it's funny because you mentioned courses, and there were some questions I had about courses specifically, and then just also kind of logistics in terms of how things work at tournaments. But if I recall correctly, I think it was the last time that I was in Maui that you told me that the course at Kapalua, did you say is the hardest to walk or one of them?
It's one of them, but the fact that it used to be the first week of the year after being off for 2 months kind of made it default the hardest. If it was in the middle of the summer, it would be in the top 5. But the fact that, basically everyone had been home from US Thanksgiving through the Christmas holidays, and then you get on a plane and all of a sudden you're walking up mountains. That made it by far the hardest. Yeah.
And I think that we had texted at the time. It's because of, obviously, it's on a volcano. And
Yeah.
basically the way that these volcanoes form with the lava and everything, it's almost like a BMX track or something like that, with all the different
Yeah.
bumps and stuff in different
Oh
places.
yeah. It's uphill, downhill, side hill, uphill, downhill. It's tough. Yeah. It's Maui's, that's a tough, unfortunately, I don't think we're going back.
I was going to
I know the
ask.
tour.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the tour is sort of, I don't know how to say this. I mean, the tour was sort of, uh, I mean, they like their Hawaii market, but the new leadership of the tour is more into making money than enjoying the venues. And I guess they don't make any money in Hawaii. And so Hawaii's out, both events. So we used to go Maui, Maui, Honolulu. That
Yes.
was our start. So it looks
Yeah.
like those are both done, and we will start in San Diego maybe the third week in January.
Are there any other courses, or if you just want to pick one that's just hard to walk, I guess, other than one that's on a volcano?
Mm, I mean, this place this week's not that much fun, but I think a lot of it is the fact that it's 100 degrees.
Where I
Greensboro.
meant to ask you, where are you right now?
I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina.
That's right. Oh, you did
Um,
tell me that.
yeah, the John Deere is a tough walk. That's in the Quad Cities, like far west Illinois. That's no fun, and it's hot. Those are probably the two worst ones, or two of the worst ones.
Okay, so when you travel around, and I'm going to come back to the course in a sec, I meant to ask, are you kind of on your own? Do you travel in groups, or maybe you travel with other caddies, or how does that go?
Um, not by not by plan. Typically, do we travel together? But I mean, there's usually not that many flights going from tournament A to tournament B. So at some point, you're going to run into guys that you know, um, and which is it's funny. I guess depending on where you live, sort of dictates what airline you fly. So I see the same caddies every week at the airport because we all fly that same airline. Whereas there's other guys that I never see because they fly a different airline. So, in that sense, but I mean, we'll rent houses together.
Caddies.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll rent houses together. Sometimes there'll be a player in there. Sometimes we'll grab maybe a couple of physio guys. There's a lot of independent physio guys. So, there's some weeks on tour. Palm Springs is one where there's not much hotel inventory. LA is another one where there's not much hotel inventory. So, you rent a house up in Santa Monica, get a 3-4 bedroom house, grab a couple extra, a couple caddies or a physio guy, and you end up with 3 or 4 guys in the house. And it's the West Coast. It's the beginning of the year. You got a couch to go hang out on, watch some games on TV. It's a pretty good time of the year. Hockey's going, football's still going. And then, once the summer hits, most of the cities we play in, you can easily do hotel. Majors are good for houses because the days are so long. And usually the prices are high, and, there's a lot of congestion around the major golf courses just because the attendance is so much higher. So it's sometimes getting house there on those weeks is pretty key.
And you book all your own stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, unless someone else, if someone else says, "Hey, I got a house at Pebble Beach next week," what do you got? And I'm like, "Oh, well, I got the Hilton in Monterey," and they're like, "Well, I got two extra bedrooms. It's 1,500 each for the week," and I'd be like, "Okay, well, so it's up to me." So usually I would say, "Okay, yeah, here's 1,500, and I'll stay in the house and cancel the hotel reservation."
And
It's
then,
just nice to hang around with some of the guys.
of
I'll tell
course,
you, in major weeks, the golf courses are so much more complex. When you play the same places every week, like Greensboro or Detroit last week or Minnesota, um, you can, if you've seen it once, you've seen it 100 times. You can kind of get around it after a few years of seeing it. But the majors, you don't play them every year. And so, we were at Birkdale, a couple weeks ago. Hadn't been to Birkdale in 9 years. So you don't remember anything. It's nice sometimes if you're in a house, now you've got 3 or 4 sets of eyes and 3 or 4 sets of opinions of how to attack this hole, or what happens when the pin's here, or if the wind's coming from this direction, how do you play this hole? And so we'll just sit around at night and just kind of bullshit about,
Mm.
or go through the pins. They'll release the pins the night before the tournament starts. So like Wednesday night, you'll find out where all the pins are on Thursday. We'll sit around at the house and be like, okay, number one, back left, where can you play to? What's dead? What's okay? Where can we get it up and down from? If the wind is off this way or the wind's doing that. So it's kind of nice to be around the guys, especially on those weeks where, it's just a little bit more, it's a lot more work. The golf courses are a lot trickier and take a lot longer to learn.
And how far ahead do you book all your flights?
I mean, I'm not very good with that. Yeah, I've wasted a lot of money on airline. Yeah, I mean, You know, the odd ticket, the ones that I know that I want good seats, I will book in advance. I just booked a ticket to Japan. I got to go there in October, I think. So, and I know that the sooner I book it and the sooner I put in for like a system upgrade, it's sort of first come, first serve. So if I'm in ahead of everybody else, I'll get my pod at the front where I can
Oh yeah.
sleep the whole way.
Oh,
Because I'm not going over there if I'm sitting in the back. I mean, I'm not going. Um, but yeah, it's different here. Uh, the airlines can't charge you to, um, they can't charge you a change fee anymore. It used to be I buy a ticket for, Memphis is next week. So I got to buy a ticket, Greensboro to Memphis. And let's say I buy it for Sunday night at 6. We play well and the tee times come out and I'm not going to be done till 5. Can't make the flight. So I call, and this is going back 4 or 5 years. I'd call American and say, I got to change the ticket to Monday. And they would say, okay, well, it's $250 to change the ticket. And then the ticket on Mondays $100 more than the ticket you bought. So you owe us $350. And so now you're like, well, fuck, I just spent $600 on a $300 ticket, but they can't do that anymore.
okay.
So what I'll do is I'll kind of buy in bulk. Like I'll buy a Sunday nighter and then I'll buy a Monday like I did last night. And so I barely made the Sunday night flight from Detroit actually flew to Charlotte. And then when I was on the plane and we were going to take off, I canceled my flight that was this morning.
Oh, that's a great move.
And
I've
then
never heard of that before. That's awesome.
Yeah. So then I don't get my money back, but I get a flight credit.
Yeah.
And I don't have to,
fine. You're
and I don't have
it.
to pay. I get a $500 flight credit and there's no fees associated with it. So now I just take that $500 flight credit and I'll use that to buy my Charlotte to Memphis ticket on Sunday or Monday. And I just kind of keep rolling them over.
I think at some point in the future, I don't know what the situation's going to be, but I feel like I'm going to use that move and I'll text you and be like, remember that time you told me?
Yeah. Oh, there's some tricks. I got some tricks. Yeah. There are some tricks. But yeah, if you fly as much as we do, I'm not worried about carrying a couple grand of flight credits because I'm going to use it. It's not a big deal.
Every week.
Yeah, but for like the guy that goes once a year, he's kind of fucked if he's got to change his ticket. Now he's got $700 of credit and he's like, but I don't ever go anywhere. And then you're kind of jammed up. But for me, like, I don't really, I'm going to use it at some point.
Of course. Okay. So you fly around, you get to the place, whatever. I'm curious, and I'm sure you're going to tell me it depends on which course and maybe if it's a major or not. You can maybe elaborate on that, but I'm just curious in terms of when you show up with your golfer to a PGA course, what is provided behind the scenes? Like I know they have a locker room where you can go in and usually work out, whatever, but just in terms of food and on all just like, I guess the amenities, can you just elaborate in terms of what's offered to not only maybe the players, but their support staff?
Yeah. Every week's different. Every week is run separately. Obviously, the four majors are run by those four organizations. And then, for example, this week, this is the Wyndham Championship. So there's Wyndham has a tournament director whose full-time job is that he is tasked with organizing this golf tournament, from sponsorships to Pro-Am spots to managing the field, the Pro-Ams, blah blah blah. Obviously, there's the locker room set up for the players. A lot of it's facility dependent. The nice big clubhouses, usually there's a pretty stocked gym, hot tub, cold tub, full locker room set up. There's always two spots in the clubhouse. There is player dining that is player only, and then there is a family dining, which you can take your spouse and the kids can all go in there. We do not go into those places. We go to the locker room. That is it. We do not go to the gym. We do not go. We're not really permitted into any of those other areas, which is fine. I mean, that's not a big deal. You got your Planet Hollywood or your 24-hour fitness membership that you can go to in every city. So you don't need to go. You want a break sometimes. You don't want to go work out and all of a sudden there's 10 players in there and you're like, it's just, once you get away, you want to get away. Individually, we'll always have an area to park. Again, tournament specific. This is this old school golf course, small parking lot, small clubhouse. We park off site. They shuttle us in. Last week we parked in the parking lot. Then we have an area for our food. Same thing this week, smaller sort of ballpark landscape. So there's a tent on the range for us. I mean, it's nice. It's set up. It's air conditioning. We've got catered food, coffee station, our massage guy, like our sports guys here. He'll give guys adjustments or stretch them out if they want. For example, last week, the clubhouse is massive. We were inside. We were in one of the ballrooms. Same sort of deal, great setup, catered food and everything. So there's a prerequisite each tournament has to provide for us that, kind of, there's a minimum. And some tournaments, love to sort of straddle the minimum. And then there's other tournaments that ignore the minimum and just do what they think is right, which is nice. So, last week there was no minimum. This last week they do as nice a job as anybody. Next week is the same thing in Memphis. This week they're kind of straddling the minimum line.
So last week was Detroit?
Yeah.
And which course
really
was
nice. I think it's called Detroit Golf Club. It's in the ghetto. I mean, it's dicey. I mean, getting in and getting out, it's the two hardest things. If you can get in there, you're good. And then getting out, well, like the golf course is fantastic. It's excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, that was my next question is there a course that stands out in terms of the amenities where you're like, this is legit, but you maybe kind of answered that one already?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a few. The majors do a really nice job. Typically what the majors do, because the fields are so big, you've got 156 players and then you got a bunch of hanger-on people and, all the instructors come to those weeks. So typically, aside from Augusta, but the British, the US Open and the PGA, they'll put up these massive tents. And it's got everything. It's got the locker room in it. It's got the physio rooms. It's got the workout area. It's got the gym. And then it's got, probably player dining and a caddy dining and then sort of a family dining. Like the US Open at Shinnecock. I mean, I don't know how many 1,000 square feet this tent was, but it was like 3 stories, just massive. Because the clubhouse is, there's 200 members. That's not the room. There's not enough lockers. There's just not enough place to be for everyone. So they put these massive tents on. British Open, the same thing. So that's usually what they do at those places. And then, obviously next week, the field's small. So it'll be a little more compact, less guys, less players, a little bit quieter sort of day-to-day stuff.
So you mentioned Augusta, and I definitely wanted to ask you about Augusta. Is there anything, because I mean, I've never been as a patron at all. Is there anything about maybe that setup in particular that they just do in a unique way that other courses don't? Or I just want to know if the allure of Augusta, at least again from someone like my perspective, is that shared kind of through your perspective in working there?
Yes, for me, yes, 100%. They have a big advantage, and that is that they host the tournament every year. The other majors are always rotating. So I think that coupled with an unlimited budget, they're able to
Yeah.
design their place around 1 week a year. And then the members just deal with whatever they deal with the other 51 weeks. Um, so, I mean, it's the best tournament that we play, and it's not even close. Um, it's the way they treat us, the what they provide for us, the golf course tournament, the people, everything about it is the best of the best every single year. And so, the fact that they're able to build and design things for that 1 week gives them a distinct advantage over everybody else. There's no logistical issues. They eliminate the logistical issues by making it the right way and not have to worry about it. I don't know what kind of benefit that provides the members on their regular days of play when we're not there, but when we're there, I mean, it is designed. It's perfect. It's set up exactly the way it should be set up for that tournament.
From what I can tell, their groundskeeping is exceptional at Augusta.
Uh-huh.
What is it that maybe they do in terms of how they maintain the course that is different from other courses, at least from what you've observed?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is that there's there's a budget, but it's so high that there's really no um, expense spared to make it right. And some of the things they do are expensive. Messing around with these holes every year. I mean, that stuff is not cheap to bring them in and to rip the place apart and then resod it and have it ready to go and never look like there was a blade of grass out of place. So, I mean, I think following the money is probably a good way to start. But they're able to hire the best of the best as well with, sort of the allure of Augusta National and the Masters. So, if you've got an opening for, a green staff position, you're going to get the best of the best wanting to be a part of the best tournament. So they're always just the way that they've positioned themselves. I think they're always going to have the best options as far as, hiring people, budget, being able to do anything they want to do, the resources that they have, because all their goal is to provide and present the best tournament that they could possibly present year in and year out. And every year they check that box. So, and every year they get better. Every year we go back, they figure something out and they create something new. And every time you get there, you're like, damn, this is pretty good.
Can you give
I
me an
can't believe they
example?
thought about this. Was that?
Can you give me an example of something recently, whatever, maybe the last
Well,
time you're
okay,
there?
yeah. So, and there's a million. Well, okay, so they started giving us a ticket. They never used to give us a ticket in the past. And so, I mean, the secondary market's a big deal there. I mean, guys make their living in that 1 week. I mean, you're getting $15,000 for they call it like a strip, but that's like a Monday to Sunday, like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday practice, and then a Thursday through Sunday badge. I mean, it's like, depending on who's playing, but you can sell that for 15 grand before the tournament starts. And I mean, obviously, there's an agreement for us to not sell the ticket, but I mean, that's just something that they do. They give us the ticket. Over to the right of six. It's just, I think it's Berkman Road that kind of runs behind there, and it was kind of just a forest area. There was an entrance over there. I've never gone as a patron, so I don't really know like where the regular folk sort of come in and go, but I'm pretty sure there's an entrance over there, and they saw a opportunity to create sort of what you would sort of call like a fan zone. And so they've gone and they've built this multi-million-dollar fan zone over there where people can, play the simulator of Amen Corner, and you could still get your $2 egg salad sandwich and your $3 domestic beer, and it's just fan friendly stuff. You can sit there in the shade and watch the golf on some of the screens that they've got up. There's just stuff like that where they've gone and bought a lot of the properties on I guess it would be the north side of the
Yeah.
property over
Developing
by
a
the
lot
par
of real
three.
estate.
So they don't particularly, this is the impression that I get. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think they like the fact that these players are spending 40 and 50 grand for the week to rent a house. They don't like that. I mean, I don't think I feel like they think that these guys shouldn't have to be forking out that kind of dough for the 1 week. And so ultimately, I think their goal is they can buy all these homes and they can build all of these, villas or condos or whatever they want to do and provide the players with housing for the tournament. Just like they did with the parking lot, they tore up the range and built an unbelievable practice facility probably 10 years ago. But they had to buy, essentially a whole neighborhood. They don't charge for parking. They just keep buying lots and homes, and then they're not paying market value. I mean, they're giving people a lot of money for a house it's Augusta, Georgia. I mean, it's a nice
Right.
place 1 week a year.
Yeah.
So
You mentioned the food. I want to try that peach ice cream sandwich, or what is it?
I've never even had it.
Oh,
I have no idea, but I think it is peach ice cream. Yeah, I
yeah.
just eat yeah. Our setup there is a joke. We have there's a chef in there with like a short order cook. So I mean, we can get anything we want. They
Oh,
got all the
really?
egg salads and everything. Yeah, but we could just go in there and get whatever we want. We can get a burger and fries. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's okay. The food there, I know it's not maybe necessarily overly fancy. Maybe it is back behind the scenes, but whatever it is they put out, I know that they're not going to half-ass it, and I know that you're going to tell me that the food is good.
Yeah. Everything's good. There's
Yeah.
nothing bad about it. There's nothing bad about it. There is nothing. There's nothing bad about it.
Is there, I know we've spent quite a bit of time talking about Augusta, another course that maybe you haven't had the opportunity to go to very often, maybe because they host a major and they get it once every, I'll make this up, 12 years, whatever the case is. Is there one course that sticks out to you, again, other than Augusta, that's like, oh, that place is really cool, and maybe you would really like to get back, maybe you won't get back?
Um, I mean, I thought that Birkdale this year for the British Open was really cool. And obviously, I don't know when we're going to go back, but I would, I would be excited to definitely go back for that one. We play St. Andrews next year for the British Open. I've been there a few times. It's pretty cool. It's a nice one. It's every 5 years, so I've been
Yeah.
lucky enough to be there a few times.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
We'll talk about St. Andrews then, because that one has had an allure to me too, because my mom's side of the family's Scottish. So I love hearing, and I love like that old, I think there's an old building, right? Isn't it by 18? I think, isn't it the hotel or something like that?
Yeah, 17. You hit it over you kind of hit it over it depends what the wind's doing, but you kind of hit it over the core of the hotel on 17.
Right. Yes. I've
Yeah.
seen some of those videos.
Yeah.
That place looks super cool, man.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very unique. It's typical sort of Scottish links, like your first your first nine go out and your next nine come back in. And there's a bunch of connected greens, and the connected greens all add up to 18. So like 13 and 5 share a green, 12 and 6 share a green. 1 and 7, or 1 and 17 don't share green, but 2 and 16 share green, and they all add up to 18. Just weird stuff like that. And you go out and you come back. So you can play the same win 9 holes in a row. It gets a little tricky, like 9 and 10 and 11 are kind of like this little horseshoe area, but 1 through 8 and 12 through 18 kind of run like this. So it's cool, but it's it's kind of middle to North Scotland. It's not great weather in
Yeah.
July. Like it can be pretty shitty. Like Birkdale was nice. Like it's 80 degrees. It's hot. I mean, there's not much air conditioning
Where is
around.
Birkdale? Sorry, just give me some sort of
Um,
reference point.
Birkdale is West England. I'd say it's in the middle. It is about an hour west of Manchester. So it's about 4 hours west of London, which I think is sort of central England, maybe shaded to the north side of England. I don't know my
No,
European
no, no.
geography that
No,
well.
no, that's fine. And I know that with all the travel and then commitments at the course and delays, and I feel like sometimes you're probably going to tell me, aside from the accommodation and the course, you don't really get to do much. But I'm sure that
Yeah.
there are some times in your travels that you get to maybe enjoy it a little bit. So maybe just outside of the golf. So I'm not talking about the course or anything like that. Is there a place or maybe a couple places in your career, whether it's a country or a specific city, where you're like, oh, I love, even if it's just like maybe one day or you get half a day, that you're like, I really like going to this place.
I mean, for me, um, I enjoy Hawaii. I like
Yeah.
to watch the surfing and the waves.
That's so cool.
So it's so cool. So I've got some really good spots that I know of that are kind of off the beaten track that are sort of more local hot spots and like where the pros would surf if the swells are right. So I enjoy that part in Maui more. You can get a little more secluded in Maui. In Honolulu or on Oahu, it's really the North Shore when we're there in February or January. So it's like the whole island's on the North Shore if the waves are big. So that's kind of like it's kind of pretty pedestrian. But Maui, there's some sneaky spots on the west side of the island that are pretty good. So I enjoy that. I mean, really, for us, I like going to hockey games when we're away, when we're on the road. So that the part, obviously, we don't play much when the season starts, but January, February, March, if we're in Phoenix and the Coyotes are in town, that's a good, well, I guess the Coyotes aren't there anymore, but when they used to be there, we would go to those games or we go watch the Panthers, and a lot of times, um, at least for us, the Leafs, they get scheduled those Southern teams during the winter because they know that there's going to be the fans down there. So if it's not Toronto and Tampa, maybe it's Montreal, maybe it's Boston, same for Florida. So I mean, we like to go to the games, catch a baseball game in the summer occasionally. Um, it's so damn hot though that when we start playing in the summer, that sometimes I'm just ready to just get inside and be done until I got to go back out the next morning.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, when you hit on Maui there, where, just generally, like, would you stay at a, like, what would your accommodation be? Like, would you guys normally stay at a house, or because I know that sometimes it can be tough in Maui
So
to.
yeah, so the first couple years, the sponsor was Mercedes, and they used to subsidize the Ritz, which was nice because we could get the Ritz for $250 a night, which that's not cheap, but the Ritz is like $850 a night. So for 10 days at $250 a night at the Ritz, that's a pretty good deal. So that's where I stayed the first couple times. And then there's a little bay if you go out the back entrance of Kapalua called Napili. It's this little cove, and there's a bunch of condos on that cove.
Mhm.
And I rented condos, once a home, and the other few times I've been there, condos, like a sort of a 2 or 3 bedroom condo, and that was our place for the week. So, which is nice. I mean, you can, we go out for dinners and stuff, but at least, we had some breakfast stuff in the house. You can sit outside, watch the waves in the morning. You don't have early starts in Maui, usually like 9 or 10 o'clock is the first few times. So, and you're getting up early with the time change. So it's nice to get up and not have to sit in a hotel room looking out into the ocean. So those were the places I used to stay in.
So I've been there 3 times. We always stay in the Kaanapali area, which is not too
No,
far
it's
north
10 minutes. Yeah.
well, not too far north from Lahaina, which obviously
Yeah. Yeah.
devastated. And then, as you said, 10-ish minutes south of Kapalua. But with the Ritz specifically, You've been there quite a few times, you said? Okay. So do you know about the Milkshake Shack? You didn't
Yeah.
hesitate.
No,
What is
I
it
know
like?
exactly.
$18 US milkshakes?
Yeah. Yeah.
100% worth it.
Yeah. And the, I'm going to mess the name up. There's a sushi place that's between Miso Fat. Is it Miso Fat?
No, there's
Miso Hungry.
that's one of my favorite sushi restaurants in the world. Maybe we're talking about a different one, but it's the one. It's on the Ritz property, but it's by the Italian restaurant, which is also great.
Oh, yeah. No. I'm talking. Yeah, I know that one. This was,
That was
no,
Sensei,
this
is
was,
what I'm thinking of.
oh,
Amazing
Sensei. Yeah.
sushi.
Yeah. 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 Miso Fat, I think,
I haven't
is
been to that one.
almost dead between Napili and Kahanapali. Don't go back into the highway. Stay on that beach
Okay.
road. And it's
When I
it's
go
on
back,
the
I'm
non
texting you about this. I'm
yeah,
gonna get.
yeah, it's on the non-water side, but it's the same thing. It's like $27 for like 6 California, like a California roll that's got like 5 pieces. But it's good though. It's good.
Man, I remember I have a picture of it somewhere, and the last time I got those milkshakes, it was actually a friend of mine that I went to law school with, Jamie. She actually told me to go there. I hadn't heard of it, and I remember I got this chocolate one that had, I think, Reese's, like a full peanut butter cup, a Nutter Butter, chocolate flakes, and then I got a strawberry one, and they put like strawberry shortcake cookies and Twizzlers in it. Like
Oh, it's a
they don't
joke.
take
Yeah.
shortcuts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. My son, the first time he went there, he thought it was he'd be just room servicing it all when I was on the golf course. And we get the bill at the end of the week. And I was like, what the fuck have you guys been doing when I've been at the golf course? Because it was like three $30 milkshakes a day. And I'm like, all right, no more room charges.
Yeah, you revoked that
Oh,
authorization.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, hey man, thanks for your time. This has been awesome.
Oh,
I
yeah.
always enjoy
Anytime.
talking to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All good.
Thanks, Billy.
You got it. Happy to do it.